promise I will. All right. Can you just hold that, like the various pieces that's going to happen? Okay. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. What do they do in Broadway? Like when they're the show's about to start, they all start clapping? Is that what it is? No, I never. Look, to me, all of this is Torah, right? All of the kibbutz, all this stuff is Torah, so it's all beautiful. I have to dance. Yeah, you know what? All right, I'll tell you. Yeah. All right. Very good. So again, I just want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And a special welcome to our guests for this evening, anyone who has never been here before. And of course, in addition to celebrating Shabbat, this is the Shabbat that we set aside now in our second year to celebrate the Remarkable Road Forward Scholarship and the scholarship awardees. And this year to install a new award for our community, a social justice award as well. So we have this Shabbat to celebrate a lot of wonderful things and a lot of wonderful people. So I want to start with actually the wonderful people component of it, in that we are going to light and bless our Shabbat candles. And I'm sorry I'm putting everybody on the spot right now, but I want to invite up anybody who helped with the Road Forward, leadership, volunteers, anybody who wants to come up to help light and bless our Shabbat candles. Sherry's going to lead the way. Don't be shy. Even if you don't know the blessing, come on up there. Vivian. We got a lot of you that helped. Okay? Come on up. Everybody come on up. We need one person to actually light. Who's good at the lighting piece? Vivian, you did this a few weeks ago. That's good. I'm very bad with these things. I'm pretty bad with it. This one you have to, it doesn't look like it's working, but it is working, and you got to be careful because it's yes. Yeah, no. So Andy also. Where's Andy? Andy, come on up. Come on. Okay. Social Justice Committee Road Forward. Thank you all for all that you do. Let's light and bless these Shabbat candles and not burn ourselves down. Okay, good. Page 120. Oh, no, definitely not. Yeah.
Hold on. I don't want to burn down the new building. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. You sound good together. You work well together. It's all good things. No. No singing contract. No, I don't think so. But that's okay. All right. Well, there is a beautiful energy in the room tonight. That is for sure. And as you'll notice, Cantor Kevin not with us this Shabbat. All right. Oh, wow, you actually listened to that. That's very good. I feel much better about myself. But I am very happy that at least for a couple of our songs tonight, one of last year's scholarship awardees, Julian Link Morris, is here somewhere over in his normal spot. So he's going to come and jump in and play a little bit. It's very nice. Isn't that nice how that comes full circle like that? But I'm going to rely on you especially, and Sally Joe, you're going to help me out from the third row, right? I want to hear everybody singing tonight because I need a little bit of backup help. So we're going to turn to page 130. Again, if anybody's joining us for the first time, there should be a prayer book. Looks just like this in your pews somewhere. If you don't have one, let us know and we will help out. Again, page 130, very top of the page. Lechu ner anena, lechu ner anena, lechu ner anena l'Adonai. Lechu ner anena, lechu ner anena, lechu ner anena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, letzor ishenu nekadma fana vetoda. Naria, Naria, letzor ishenu mizmirot Naria lo. Lechu ner hanena, lechu ner hanena, lechu ner hanena ladonai. Lechu ner hanena, lechu ner hanena, lechu ner hanena ladonai. We're now on page 131, towards the middle of the page, top of the Hebrew. Shiru ladonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru ladonai, kol haaretz. Shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato. Shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato. Shiru ladonai, shiru shir chadash, shiru ladonai kol haaretz. Shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato. Shiru ladonai baruchu shemo, basru meyom leyom yeshuato. We'll turn now to page 132 at the very bottom of the page, Or Zarua. Or Zarua lahatzadik, ulehishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua lahatzadik, ulehishrei lev simcha. Simechu tzadikim b'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. Simechu tzadikim b'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. We'll turn now to page 134, the very top of the page in Hebrew. Zamru ladonai bechinor, bechinor bekol zimra, v'chatzotzrot vekol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayamum lo. Tevel veyoshveva, neharot yimchahu chaf yachad, harim yiraneinu, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel betzedek. Ve'amim b'mesharim, Yiram hayamum lo, tevel ve'yoshveva, neharot yimchahu chaf yachad, harim yiraneinu. And now I'll ask Julian to find his way to the piano as we turn to page 135, the last paragraph towards the middle of the page. And please be kind. He's great. I don't know that I'm great to keep up with it, but Julian is great. We're going to do our best. All right. Julian, you'll lead us off. We'll jump in. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehakodsho. Nicely done, Julian. All right, we're going to turn now to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. And tonight we're going to do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraphs. A reminder for the last one, especially for those that have never been with us before, for the last paragraph we rise and we face actually this way towards the door as we walked in. But again, if you face towards the rear, I won't judge. All right, page 138, very top of the page. And again, Julian, you start us off and I'll jump in. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor bezachor bedibur echad ishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad. Ushemo echad l'shem utiferet ve'elitila lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha uvetzola toch emunei aham segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. This is the dancing part. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Yai lai lai lai, yai la 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 lai 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 lai, ai la 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 lai lai lai, ya la 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 lai, ai la la lai, ya la 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 la. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, I'm sorry, Arlene, you finally caught up and then I stopped it. All right, Mazel Tov. And Andy, definitely no dancing for you yet. No dancing. Unless it's to the other direction, right? That's the old circle dancing. That might work. All right, Yasher Koch to Julian. You did great. You did great. Okay, as we find our seats again, we're going to turn to page 140, Tzadik Katamar, which is the Hebrew, just where it indents in the middle of the page. Again, page 140. 40. Tzadik Katamar yifrach kerez bavanon yizkar Shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yihu lehagin ki ashar Adonai Suri velo avlatabo. We'll now rise in body or spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal veyitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'almad yivrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'galaha uvizman kariv veimeru Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah mevarach Le'ahalam li'almei halmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha richu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Tamiran be'alma ve'imeru. Amen. Remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. Please be seated. Before we go on this reading on page 147 that we've never really read before, but I think is very beautiful, I'd love to share it with you tonight. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself, herself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. We'll turn now to page 149, and we'll read together on the bottom of the page, again, page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where else shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, amari v'aravim. We'll turn now to page 151. We'll read together in English towards the bottom of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Ki ehem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'lahaila, Vavatcha al tasir mimenu li'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please join me on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We'll read together on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158. Yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 bye, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 bye, yabai bye bim bam. Mihi chamocha bailim Adonai, mihi kamocha nedar bakodesh, nor atehilot osefele, nor atehilot osefele. Yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam. Yai bye ba 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 bye, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye ba 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 bye, ya ba bye bye bim bam. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, b'keyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. B'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, וגולו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Israel. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu is on the top of page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeteinu uvoeinu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. We turn now to page 162, Vishamru at the very top of the page. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Einai beini uvein bnei Yisrael oti leolam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim vet haaretz uvayom hashevim Shabbat Shabbat vayinafash. In a moment, we're going to, and I'll invite everyone to rise either in body or in spirit. We'll begin a prayer on page 164 that in Hebrew is known as the Amidah. It's literally the standing prayer. Again, body or spirit, standing doesn't have to be only physical. But I want to invite all of us, again, some of us may be coming from a different faith background or coming from a different place. The words on the page are a guide for those of us that choose to use them, but this is also a space for us to pray the prayer of our own heart. So to use this time again in a way that is meaningful, in a way that brings your attention to the uniqueness of this moment, to the uniqueness of our lives, our connections to each other, and the beauty of the world that we share. And to use this space again, words on the page, words in your heart, whatever feels most appropriate to you. But we'll all, again, as I said, we'll rise in body or spirit as we begin together, and then we'll continue silently from there. And as always, please go at your own pace, and when you're finished, if you're still standing at the end, you may be seated. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yehoshvei tevel. Yase shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. We'll turn now to page 371 in our prayer books, which is an opportunity for us to pray for healing on behalf of others. As we always do in our community, we'll begin with a list of those that we know we're thinking of tonight, and then we'll give an opportunity for anyone in the room who wants to share out loud names of loved ones that you're thinking of. And of course, to invite those both watching at home, those with us here, if you have names that you don't feel comfortable sharing, or even perhaps for yourself. All right, to keep within your heart, but all of us collectively together to pray for healing of the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit. So tonight in our community, we're thinking of Bentzi Tepper, Allison Luckman, Malka Bat Chaya Sura, Michael Klinghoffer, Ame and Warren Cass, Rivka Bat Rachel, Leah Bat Naomi, Gedalia Ben Sylvia, Lorraine Danis, David Dowling, Sylvia Devora Bat Francis, Muriel Hirsch, Michelle Sawicki, Francis Kirschman, Shelley Newmark, Diane Axelrod, Gabriella Spicer, Barbara Kushner, David Kyle Klopman, and Lorraine Davis. Sue Warder, Morris Kramer, Jeffrey Miller, Devora Batsima, Kim Birnbaum, Hilda Mintz, Deborah Block-Kroll, Sylvia Orn, Rebecca Rubin, Kate Kessler, Donna Rivka Bat Chana Shira, Moshe Ben Yosef, Ann Baker, Tikva Bat Abram, Andrea Klausner, Jake Curie, Farah Sherwin, Barbara Schwab, Alan Zaretsky, Steve Roberts, Peter Cohen, Toby Spitz, and Gail Gambino. And now we'll give an opportunity for anyone who's with us here in the room, if you have additional names to share. We're going to start as far onto the left here, and then we'll come to this row, and then to here, and then towards the back in each case. And if you have names to share, just raise a hand so I can make sure we acknowledge everybody. Okay, all the way in the back. Vivian? Arlene?
Jerry Emanuel, Judy Emanuel, Jackie Emanuel, Joseph Gesford, Donna Gesford, Julia Espinosa, Christine Hubbard, Michael Darcy, Kelly Mulholland, Deanna Davis, and
Tom Fogarty. Eugene Paskey, Miss Bill, Joan Fletch, Hilton Ince, John Graham, Mark Newmark, Diane Schwartz, Vivian Travis, Ron Burwell, Rob Feinberg, Marios, Clayton Dampier, and Judy.
As I said, those that are watching at home to add your names as well. And we'll join together in the Mishaberach on page 371, just in the middle of the page. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Labotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. First of all, thank you for singing extra loud today. It really does make a difference. And Sally Joe, you truly do have a miraculous, beautiful voice. So that is just a great thing for your rabbi, for sure. So I want to begin first with gratitude. First, gratitude to our remarkable Road Forward committee, its leadership, I want to thank all of you for all the hard work that you have done to build this wonderful part of our community, to change the lives of young people who they in turn will change lives. Is truly a remarkable thing, and having been able to come last week to the event was just a wonderful thing to see. Real community, and again, with the best neshama, right? The best soul to the entire experience. A kol hakavod to all of you. And I want to also thank the Social Justice Committee and its leadership as well, in partnership, and all of the things that this wonderful group of people all together have done to really take what has always been part of our heart, part of our soul here at the temple, but make it manifest in ways that are tangible, in ways that truly are going to change the lives of individuals, but always, again, with this idea that the lives of individuals then, right, create other changes that ripples out in so many beautiful ways. In a few minutes, we're going to have an opportunity to hear a little bit again about the scholarship awardees and our first ever social justice award that's going to be given at the temple as well. But I wanted to try to ground this a little bit of Torah. This is the rabbi's privilege, right? When you got the microphone, everybody's got to listen. So I realized that some of the things I'm going to explain may be very familiar to some may be very new. I'm going to do my best to thread that particular needle. But I realized that, a lot of our conversation in our temple, and I think in the Jewish world in general, focuses on this phrase, tikkun olam. Tikkun olam, right? So just out of curiosity, how many people are familiar with this phrase? This is the one time I asked the question where, really, again, most of the room will understand, they'll have heard it. Now I'm going to ask a harder second question. Where is its first appearance in our tradition? Where does it come from? So I suspected that would be the response, and that's not a judgmental piece of it. It's a reality, and actually it was a reality for me until a few years ago. Mostly because we know this phrase, social justice, we know this phrase, tikkun olam, from its context in our lives today. And we use it appropriately so to describe in broad terms, right, the impact, the change in the world that we see around us. And in particular, with an eye towards helping people, helping our planet, helping our interrelated relationships with each other. All of these things are encapsulated within this phrase, which I realize we actually don't necessarily know so much about its origins. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean its origins are what it should mean today. But I'm going to try to bring us very quickly through time to try to give us a few senses of where it comes from. So the answer to the first question may surprise you, but it does not come from the Torah, it does not come from the Tanakh. You will not find it anywhere in the 5 books of Moses, you will not find it anywhere in the prophets, you will not find it anywhere in the writings. You will find lots of things that lend itself to the idea, but nowhere will you see that particular phrase. Its first appearance actually is in the Mishnah. The Mishnah is a significant body of text for us as Jews. It is the basis for most of what we associate with Judaism because it is the first attempt by the rabbis to take these sort of amorphous ideas and to put them into concrete terms. What do you do on this holiday? What do you do in this prayer? All the stuff we've done tonight, all this, moving around, all these things, its origin point really is more in the Mishnah than it is in the Torah itself. But strangely enough, surprisingly enough, when Tikkun Olam appears in the Mishnah, it is the furthest thing from what we might assume it means today. It actually was a very specific reference to a circumstance in which there was a necessary change to an already existing law in order to keep society well functioning. In other words, the law of the Torah that had been handed down had some elements that were problematic. Now, I'm going to quote heavily from Rabbi Jill Jacobs. Any of you know Jill Jacobs? Okay, good. You should, okay? Brilliant rabbi, leader for many years of Truah, which is a great Jewish organization doing Tikkun Olam work, certainly. And she wrote a beautiful piece about this and its full history, and I recommend reading it. So she points out, though, that of the 10 times that this phrase appears in this one particular section of the Mishnah, Gittin, which deals with what happens when a divorce takes place, a get, so that actually the majority of times that this particular phrase appears is in trying to fix problems that existed in the original way in which Jewish people were married and when the marriage dissolved. And that there was an imbalance in many cases to the way, in particular, the bride is treated, right? The wife is treated, all sorts of things that in their original form didn't work. And therefore, tikkun olam, in this case, meant changing those laws or adapting those laws for a new time in order to make sure that justice prevailed. Okay? Later on, it appears actually in our liturgy, not a piece of liturgy that we tend to do here in the Aleinu prayer. It's something we'll do in a little bit. I'm not even sure if it's in our particular prayer book. In its concept, when it talks about tikkun olam, it's talking about fighting against idolatry, and very specifically so. And I'm not talking about idolatry in the sort of broader sense, I mean literally an idol. Don't worship idols, kind of important in the Ten Commandments and a lot of other places. The idea of tikkun olam, of repairing the world, so to speak, meant fighting against the influences that were going to draw us towards evil, towards other kinds of behaviors and other things like that. So instead of it being, again, about fixing some other law that existed, now we're taking a bigger approach, right? Our approach to fixing the world is by fighting against the things that are idolatrous. Okay, so while our ancestors may have been focusing on an actual idol that could actually be built, in our lifetime, idolatry takes on other forms, right? The worship of wealth, the worship of power, the worship of self, right? These are, in essence, idols of our time. And so fighting against them is basically an act of tikkun olam. Maimonides, the great teacher in his Mishnah Torah, makes this actually even broader, and he universalizes this. And he says that in the end, purpose of tikkun olam is to, again, better society or humanity in the largest sense. As he says, every judge who judges truth unto its deepest truth, even for 1 hour, it is as if he has fixed the whole world entirely. Okay, so in other words, if you act in a just way, even for 1 hour, this constitutes a tikkun olam. It constitutes a repairing of the world through the acts of justice, of upholding, again, the best of our qualities. But the tikkun olam that I think most of us are most familiar with has its origins much later on, in Kabbalah. Okay, Kabbalah is a thing that existed much longer than most of us realize, but it really begins to take its shape in the 16th century, and to this day affects many aspects of the way that we practice our Judaism, whether you realize it or not. In this case, I'm going to quote a little bit from Rabbi Jacob's piece. So she points out that Lurianic Kabbalah, one of the great teachers of Kabbalah, Isaac Luria, imagined that Adam, the first human being, could have redeemed the world and restored divine light to its proper place. However, through his sin, Adam lost the chance to achieve this tikkun, this repair. And therefore, the responsibility for restoring divine perfection fell to later generations, that is us. In Kabbalah, tikkun, to repair, is achieved primarily through the performance of mitzvot, of commanded religious obligations within Judaism, as well as through contemplation and study. The mystical notion, she says, of tikkun introduces into Jewish thought the idea that human actions can have an effect on the cosmos. Earlier biblical and rabbinic writings suggest that God demands certain behaviors, that human beings are rewarded or punished according to their behaviors, and even that God celebrates or mourns the appropriate or inappropriate actions of human beings. The innovation of Kabbalah, she writes, was the idea that God is not static, but changes in response to human behavior. In deciding whether or not to perform a mitzvah, Jews thus must consider not only the potential consequences for themselves and their communities, but also the effect that a given action may have on the cosmos as a whole. In other words, tikkun olam is not just about Jews or helping other Jewish people or anything of the sort. The Kabbalistic view is that this is actually something on a cosmic level, that when we go out and we do mitzvot, when we do good acts, when we help the world, we're not just changing a small fraction of it, we're not just changing ourselves, we're not even just changing the person that we're helping, we are literally changing the structure of the cosmos. We are bringing to God a sense of repair. Now think of that on a theological level of what that means, right? We tend to think of God and anything related to God as being perfect, and we are the failed point, but it's not. Kabbalah talks about a partnership, a responsibility to work together, us and God together, to make the world better than what it is, to, in essence, repair it to an earlier state, a pristine state that none of us, quite frankly, have ever seen. So these are all gigantic ideas, big ideas, and ones that naturally lend themselves towards the phrase social justice. But in saying social justice only in English, we lose a little bit of that nuance of what we hear in the Hebrew of tikkun olam. So Rabbi Jacobs suggests what I think is actually the best way forward, which is that it's not any one of these four, and actually there are 5 or 6 or 7 or other ways of understanding. And she says instead that we should actually sort of read it together, see all of these different perspectives as one. So as she says it, right, I suggest a reimagining of tikkun olam that combines the 4 understandings of the term that we have seen in traditional text. The Alenu's conception of tikkun as the destruction of any impurities that impede the full manifestation of the divine presence, in other words, to fight idolatry. The literalist understanding of tikkun olam as the establishment of a sustainable world, in other words, to make sure that we can exist tomorrow and the day after that. the rabbinic willingness to invoke tikkun olam as a justification for changing untenable laws, and ultimately speaking, the Lurianic belief, the Kabbalistic belief, that individual actions can affect the fate of the world as a whole. So all of this together, I think, is really, again, what we are celebrating tonight. We are celebrating young people in particular who have already, for years, been doing precisely this, whether they realize it or not. To do the work of Tikkun Olam is to have an awareness of the significance of each one of your lives. Okay? And I'm looking at really all of our recipients, every one of you, to understand that what you do, what you have done, and what you will do is not small. It is huge. It is cosmically huge. When you affect the life of another person, when you teach them, again, the best of what humanity can produce, when you young people go out into the world, especially those, again, that are going off to college, when you interact with other people, when you show them the right way against the wrong way, when you build relationships, when you build bridges, when you reject the idolatry of our time, when you reject the wanton destruction of life and our planet, when you reject the pursuit at any cost of gathering more resources for self, when you reject all of the things that most of our society tells you to do, this is tikkun olam. This is social justice. This is the best, again, of not just what our tradition, but of all humanity can produce. So to be a part of that story, okay, our whole community, again, gratitude to our leaders who brought this to us, but our whole community to be part of this story and to be helping a next generation to go out into the world and to do that good stuff. It is the very, very, very apex of what it means to be part of certainly humanity, of the Jewish people specifically, of our community here at Temple Adas Israel, and again, a part of that interconnected web that we all really refer to as the human family. So I'll end with my gratitude, which is my gratitude again to all of you for being here tonight, to our leaders who helped to make this happen, and especially to our young people tonight who we are celebrating. You are going to do great things. You have done great things, and we are very privileged to know you and to be supporters of that work. And we hope that you know that with everything that you do, we are behind you 100%. So with that, I'm going to first welcome up Sherry Littman on behalf of the Road Forward, who's going to present a little bit of background on our scholarship award winners, and then I will invite up one of our social justice co-chairs, Andy Klausner, who will present our social justice award as well. So Sherry, why don't you come on up, and let's give Sherry a round of applause, and all of our Road Forward applause. So Sherry,
That was beautiful.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll be right up here with Amy. Now, first thing we'll do is let's make sure everybody can hear you okay. And this is one of those mics, you actually getting closer to it doesn't do you any benefits.
Okay, so
can
I
everybody
can
hear
just,
Sherry okay?
You can hear me.
Okay,
Great. Well, I've learned a lot from your sermon, and what you say about Tikkun Olam is the core of who we are, and our group, our social justice group, our Road Forward group, our Tikkun Olam group. I personally began this journey 5 years ago. First, Howie retired, my husband. We came out here, and the pandemic hit. And we were here for 2 years. And feeding family, Ola called our social justice group, and we fed 8 families. And that was life-altering, because the Tikkun Olam aspect of it, of feeding a family that didn't have money for food on the table because they lost their jobs, they were reliant upon us to help them. And there's something in me changed. And after that, we had a meeting, and I said, what's going to happen to the children? If the money isn't there for the family, will they be able to go to college, for example? And everybody said no. And it just didn't sit right with me. And one of the co-chairs, Andy, called me and said, would you start a committee? Obviously, you're passionate about this, do something. And so Road Forward was started. And our founders are here. Will you wave, Vivian? Vivian Shapiro and Heidi Siegel. And Rivlin is on her way to New York. The 4 of us we're the founders of Road Forward, not knowing really what to do, how to do it. Julian, thank you for adding music and levity and joy to the service, and also Saturday night, you entertained us. So we will continue on our road together because you're a part of our family, the Road Forward family. And what I just wanted to say something is that I really want to thank the people in this temple who supported this, because there are so many pushes and pulls and needs that everybody has personally and within the temple itself. And to have room for us to grow and discover the needs of the community was a learning experience for us and for all of us. And we continue to grow. And I hope you'll continue to be on the journey with us. I thank you for attending Saturday night. It exceeded our expectations. We met our goals to be able to give our 6 scholars scholarships, which I know will help them on their journey. We haven't met the families, but we've interviewed the children. And the children that you raise tell me who you are as people. And so we applaud our recipients' families as well as the recipients themselves, because it gives us hope in the future that these young people who, despite whatever trials, tribulations, stresses they may have, they were able to look beyond themselves and help others in the community, as what we are aligned and we believe in the same thing. So I'd just like to announce the 6 names, and these are remarkable people. David Andrews, who's here. So David is part of the temple, a TAI graduate, a graduate of Ross School. Correct me if I'm wrong in anything. And he's attending Franklin University in Switzerland, which is remarkable. He's an adventurer. He's open to the world and wants to experience all that life has to give. And to meet him was a joy. He participated in Model UN. He went to Tanzania and taught children English and forged a relationship and helped others once he got back. And we know you studied a lot about anti-Semitism, and we know that you carry that story and our traditions with you wherever you go. So best of luck to you. Edwin Sebastian Bacalin Calais graduated from East Hampton High School. He's attending Suffolk Community College, and he wants to be a veterinarian. And he's going to be in the program, Veterinary Science Technology Program. He worked with the Ruta 27 group, helping kids learn English who were of Hispanic descent, and volunteered in the East Hampton Library, beyond his family, beyond the needs within his own world. Dylan Fitzgerald's an athlete and a scholar. He graduated from Bridgehampton High School, and he's attending Iona. And he is an athlete, I believe basketball, right? Basketball, I think it was his sport. What is it? Baseball too. Yep, great. And are you related? You're his mom. Very special guy. Melanie Guzne graduated from East Hampton High School, attending SUNY Buffalo in the 3-in-1 program for textile design program. She was in the Fashion Club, Key Club, Project Most, just an all-around really remarkable person. And Luna, you're here. Prakash, you graduated from Bridgehampton High School, right? And you're attending, what? Salutatorian, thank you. Thank you. We saw who you are, and we were, the people who interviewed you loved meeting you. And you're attending Boston College in the nursing program. So that's to keen along. And you say you're very involved in healthcare and helping the underserved communities. And I'm sure you will enrich everyone's lives who meets you and is lucky enough to be under your care. And the last person, Ashley, and not least, Ashley, there you are with your aunt, Ashley Weatherbacks, right here with Pearson High School. She's attending SUNY Binghamton. She's an athlete scholar, and also is very aware of the needs that kids, her friends, her people her age struggle with mental health issues, with drug abuse, and all kinds of stresses. And we know that wherever you go and whatever you do, you will help those in need, because you have already. We thank you all for your contribution.
Sherry. It's now my privilege to invite up the co-chairs of our Social Justice Committee, Andy Klausner, who is going to present our inaugural first ever Social Justice Award, which is very exciting. All right, Andy, we're going to be extra careful. Okay. Yes, don't breathe. I gotcha. Only one hand. It's right here. There you go. Okay, we'll make sure that you can be heard before I walk away. All right.
I'm a little lopsided.
That's okay. Don't worry so much. Okay.
Can you hear me? I'm Andy Klausner. I'm co-chair of the Social Justice Committee, along with Alyssa Peak, who could not be here tonight. I first want to congratulate all the Road Forward scholars on a job well done. We are all so very proud of you, and we expect to hear and see great things from all of you. And congratulations to the Road Forward Scholarship Committee. I am very pleased to be able to present the first Social Justice Tikkun Olam Award to one of our Temple teams. As you know, or may know, the mission of the Social Justice Committee is to build bridges in our larger community through acts of caring and generosity. By building allies among our wonderfully diverse East End neighbors, we benefit all residents, as well as building allies to support our own Jewish community. It is so important to teach our young people to follow our example and get involved in community service. They are our future leaders who will promote a world filled with more kindness and inclusion. Therefore, each year, the Social Justice Committee will present a merit award to a Temple teen who has demonstrated a keen commitment to Tikkun Olam. This year's award goes to Jacob Weller, a true social justice warrior. I'm not sure we have time to list all of Jacob's accomplishments, but I will do my best to summarize. Jacob has participated in many of our social justice initiatives, such as food and toy drives, Purim food bags for Sag Harbor elementary students, beach cleanups, Shabbat by the Bay social justice projects, including providing drum accompaniments for the Tot Shabbats at the beach, harvesting food for our food vulnerable neighbors through Share the Harvest Farm, and volunteering at Maureen's Haven Homeless Shelter. He has been a role model for younger students here at Adas Israel, teaching them to read Hebrew and helping them to prepare for their B'nai Mitzvah. On the larger stage, Jacob has participated in 2 national high school social justice seminars where Jacob and the other teens discussed timely public policy issues and learned skills to become effective social justice advocates. We need you. We need all of you. It would be hard to find a young man who is more deserving of this honor than Jacob Weller. So on behalf of the Social Justice Committee, the Hebrew School, Rabbi Dan, and the entire temple, it is my privilege to present this award to Jacob Weller. Jacob, we are so proud of you and have no doubt that you will accomplish great things in college and throughout your life. The world will be a better place because of your involvement. Mazel tov. May I give you a hug since I can't shake your hand? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. All right, careful going down there. You know, just as a one word about Jacob, somehow or another, there's like 2 seats in this entire place that are behind a pole of some sort. And Jacob, being the humble guy that he is, sitting right behind the pole, he couldn't even know that he's there otherwise. But Jacob and David, obviously, I have had the privilege of getting to know you over the last few years, of watching you literally grow up from, I would say children, but let's say children, right? From little guys to the remarkable people that you've become, and what a privilege it's been. And I just want to say also for our Road Forward scholars who I have not yet had the privilege of meeting, what I've heard about each and every one of you, what you are doing, everything that Sherry said is really just truly a wonderful thing. And I just want to ask, if I can, if our scholarship award winners, our award winner for the Social Justice Award, if you would all just stand up for one last piece of recognition so we can give you a proper applause. And then I want to ask your families to join you as well. If you could be any family that is with you tonight to stand up as well and be recognized. Really. Truly. Thank you all so much again, and thank you to our Road Forward. Really magical evening, magical opportunity to celebrate. So we're going to turn back to our prayer books now to page 586. We'll rise together in body or in spirit. Again, page 586, the very bottom of the page. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonaham v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 591. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. And just as a sign that rabbis tend to talk too much, if you wanted a short explanation of everything I just said a few minutes ago, look at the bottom of page 591. It'll be right below that line. You can read it another time. There it is in one paragraph. I'm now going to invite those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who've passed in our community in recent months. Bert Bitterman, Morty Schwatzky, Beverly Deshevsky, Sandy Greenwald, Dorothy Klein, David Lieberman, Norma Polsek, Marvin Schreier, Sandy Slip, Barbara Strasser, David Weinstein, Rita Weitzman, Reba Shepard, and Yael Zerdar. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Louis Atlas, Norma Carroll, Edith Cohen, Louis Davidow, Eli Doctorow, Stephen Dror, Susan Nan Fichtelberg, Jacob Goldstein, Mildred Gostin, Joseph Hautz, Helen Bernstein Katz, Ruth Clapper, Herman Kropf, Louis Levine, Ronald Lieber, Joan Maisel, Mary Matlis, Stephen McRae, Francis Miller, Jerry Monroe, Maxine Morris, Al Newberg, Herbert Pearl, Murray Peak, Gertrude Schwab, Louis Schwartz, Abraham Silverberg, Irving Tromberg, Richard Vanetsky, Larry Wartor, Herman Weiner, and Yetta Weinstein. Is anyone else saying Kaddish for anyone that we did not mention? I'd like to say their name. I'll invite the mourners to join together and to join me on page 598, and if it's your custom, you may rise as well. Again, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehe shemei Rabba mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehe shalama Rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Okay, please be seated, and a Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Josie, I'll need that in just a second. Thank you very much. So a few important announcements. First is to thank our sponsors for this evening's Oneg. Our Oneg Shabbat is our celebration in just a few moments, just right next door in our community hall, to celebrate Shabbat and to share some yummy food and some even better conversation. And tonight we thank Mark and Weddy Bitterman, who have sponsored our Oneg tonight for sad reasons, remembering Mark's brother Bert, who passed away in recent weeks. And again, Mark, I didn't get a chance to know Bert, but I would hope that he would be happy associated with an evening like this, and we thank both of you for everything you do for our community, and we'll certainly enjoy being able to spend that time with you as well in Bert's memory. I also just want to announce a few other important upcoming things. First is to join us for Shabbat services tomorrow morning here at the temple at 10 o'clock. We are going to celebrate Duke Lubel, one of our great young people, coming up to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. And then later in the afternoon, we're going to celebrate Shoshi Sobi, who is going to come to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. So it's a great thing in one Shabbat to have two celebrations, two wonderful young people as well. I also want to note that Torah study tomorrow will be led by Rabbi Rebecca Joseph, the wonderful daughter of Ruth Joseph, one of our great members here at the temple, a great teacher of Torah. That is also hybrid, so you can be here and be part of it, or you can be online on Zoom if you'd like to join in that way. Of course, want to say once again a thank you and a congratulations to our Road Forward committee, our volunteers, our social justice committee, all of our scholarship award winners, our Jacob Weller, our first Tikkun Olam award winner. To all of you again, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all that you do and this wonderful opportunity again to celebrate. And speaking of Tikkun Olam, of social justice, you have an opportunity this Sunday, June 18th, 10:30 in the morning, volunteer at Share the Harvest Farm, opposite of East Hampton High School. The crops are grown for our local food pantries. And please do let the Social Justice Committee know. If you're here tonight, you can let Andy know for sure. If you're going to be able to come and to join, you can use all the help you can get. I would be there. However, I am actually speaking. This is now the 6th or 7th summer where I've been invited to speak at the Union Chapel on Shelter Island, speaking again about building bridges, one of these great opportunities, a wonderful community. So my first thing to say to you is go and volunteer at the farm, okay? Go and volunteer at the farm. But if you happen to be on Shelter Island and you've got nothing else going on, you can come 10 o'clock, Union Chapel, Shelter Island. Looking forward to that very much. It's a great thing and a great privilege. Also, to mark that next Thursday, June 22nd, 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, we're very excited to welcome one of our own, Ann Silver, who's going to join me in our next in a series of conversations around science and religion, in this case focusing on rituals and behaviors that influence our eating. So we're going to see where the science comes in, where a little bit of the religion comes in. Certainly a topic that I love to talk about, eating. So we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot. And also to mark, this is the first thing that we're doing. It's a lay-led thing, which is wonderful. On the 24th is the first Hamish Havdalah. Hamish Havdalah. If you don't know the word Hamish, I don't know how you found this shul of all places, but this is what we're about. Hamish, it means home-like. It means laid back. Okay, so it's Havdalah, but don't worry. Come as you are. And Bonnie and Ira, who are going to help to run it and organize it, it's a great thing. So Long Beach, 24th. Hopefully the weather is good. And if you have any questions, find Shelley afterwards. I'll let you know. I think those are all of my announcements. I'm just going to run over here and grab our Kiddush cup from Josie. Yes. Andrea. Yes, sorry. June 30th. Potluck dinner is back, which is very exciting. Thank you, Josie. Can we get a round of applause to Josie, of course? Thank you, Josie. Love that. Yes, Neil. Wait, you want a round of applause too, Neil? No. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, I'll just point out that your rabbi IT guy also is helping to make that happen. I had to install internet in our basement this morning, and that's part of my day. But in any case, yes, we try to make everybody comfortable here in all conceivable ways. So, again, I want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Oh, yeah, sorry, Janet. Oh, so is that true, Shelley, that they have to register to come? No, sorry, we've confused things. The Havdalah on the beach. The Havdalah on the beach requires a registration. Okay, well, thank you for pointing that out, Janet. We'll try to figure that one out. I'm not sure quite how that works. Marcia? Yeah.
And the beach closes down like 5:30. There's really, anybody could get into that beach.
Okay, that's a good point, right? So if you're worried about permitting, which is always our problem, no worry about permits. After a certain hour, you can come in, right? Okay. Lou? Okay, so there was a correction to that. Okay, I'll tell you what. Anybody have any questions about Hamish? Find me afterwards. I will be happy to Hamishly explain it to you. Don't worry. We have one more, Andrea, please. Oh yeah, never even got to it. The potluck. Please come join us for services, and then join us for our potluck dinner afterwards. Potluck implying, if you can, bring something to feed people. Very important here at the temple. Vegetarian in nature. Okay, no meats or shellfishes or anything of the sort, and bring enough to feed 4 to 6 people. Okay, more than that, says Andrew. Again, hungry crowd. Okay, I'm starting to see a theme here. It's emerging. But bring as much as you can. What'd you say, Howard? Yeah. Okay. And also, as part of that, just as the last thing, Cantor Kevin, he's doing his final project in his last year cantorial school on Zmirot, Jewish table songs primarily. So we've always had that tradition of singing at the end, but it's led by me, which is not great. So all the better, Kevin will be here. He's going to teach us some great stuff. We'll do some singing. We'll do some eating. We'll do all that great stuff together. Okay. So with that, I'm going to invite us all to turn back to page 123, and we'll rise in body or spirit as we offer our kiddush, our sanctification of this moment, this Shabbat. You can join with me again, page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam morei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shamahat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki v'hanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Chaim. Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you again, Mark and Wendy, for sponsoring our own egg tonight. Please come eat. Please come eat, and good Shabbos to our friends watching at home.